Left of the box. People might have seen it on Twitter because this might have actually broken out of the Canadian Twitter sphere because of what happened. And that was Jagmeet Singh was going into Parliament and he was getting harassed by somebody. And instead of just continuing on to Parliament, he turned around and was like, bro, what? And the reaction of the right winger harassing him is beautiful. It's beautiful. The whole like, mm, I don't see anything. No. So why don't we get into it then?
You sure it's not you? No, 100%. You're a coward. You're not gonna say it's my word. You sure it's not you? No, 100%. You're a coward. You're not gonna say it to my face.
This incredible clip is now going viral as NDP leader Jagmeet Singh confronted a right-wing agitator after he yelled something at him. And the right-winger was clearly very afraid of admitting that it was him. So I'm going to play this video for you and then give you a little more background into who this person is, like the group they come from, as well as the fact that a conservative MP has actually been meeting with this insane group. And I'll also get to Jagmeet Singh's response to all of the attention on this clip. But check this out.
Corrupted bastard. Want to say something? What? Want to say something? You say nothing? What does it mean? That? You got something to say?
I didn't say corrupted bastard, but I
Is that
said...
what you said?
No, I did not say
Who
that.
said it? Who said it?
Somebody behind me said that.
Was it me? Was it you? No. You sure?
I love that. Just being like, yeah, like, look at me. Look, was it you? Was it you? It was him. Like, we all heard it. It was absolutely him. But it was like, no, you get your fucking face out of that phone and look at me. And this guy, one of his aides, just standing by and be like, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. That's my boss there. Uh-huh.
It was me, I'd admit it, buddy. Was it you or not? If it was me, I'd admit it. What'd you say then? I didn't say nothing. It wasn't me. It was a gentleman behind me, I guess. Who is it then? Point it out. I have no idea who it was, buddy. My word. You sure it's not you? No, 100%. You're a coward. You're not going to say it to my face. That's what's up. Say what? If I said something like that to you, I'd admit it. All right.
Now, I asked you if confidence was...
Like, that is just so brazen. Like, did he not know other people were recording this? Because he's like, oh no, if I said it, I would have admitted it. When that's exactly what he did not do.
Okay.
That was incredible. He would not admit that he clearly did the thing that he did. So to be clear there, he called Singh a corrupted bastard. And once Singh confronted him about it, he would not admit it. That this individual comes from. All credit here to Luke LeBrun, who has been breaking this down from our Press Progress. So this article is from last year. What is the Save the Children convoy and what do they really believe? So Canada's latest convoy mixes anti-LGBTQ plus paranoia, far-right conspiracies, sovereign citizen pseudo-legal beliefs, and new age spirituality. In other words, complete lunatics. So this individual is apparently part of this group, as well as was at this event with this guy right here, who is a conservative MP, a current sitting MP, Michael Cooper, parties with far-right group that mobbed MPs, disrupted Terry Fox ceremony. So this is around the same time this is all happening.
Okay, so for all my non-Canadian viewers here, Terry Fox, that's significance here. So the Terry Fox ceremony. Terry Fox is a well-known figure in Canadian history. He had cancer, and he was trying to fundraise for cancer by running across the country, and he had already lost a leg to cancer. And while he was doing that fundraiser for cancer, he actually passed away. And he's very kind of revered in this country, and there's statues and ceremonies and stuff like that. So for people to disrupt a Terry Fox ceremony, especially like conservatives that are always about like the values and stuff, like it's pretty low. Because again, this is somebody who died trying to raise awareness about cancer, and they're disrupting a ceremony about him. Like, as far as like he's not a politician, you know, with this dark history of colonialism or anything like that. He was trying to save lives. Like, that was a good guy there. And to disrespect him, that's, you know, coming from conservatives who are always about, you know, our symbols and stuff like that, it's pretty gross.
And this is Polyev, so the conservative leader, his shadow minister for democratic reform. This guy who is meeting with these right-wing lunatics is the shadow minister for democratic reform. Insane.
Now, there's a little bit more to come out about this Michael Cooper, MP Michael Cooper. Like literally even just today, because these stories are ongoing. And so this is from PEI Political Discussion, and we're just going to watch like the first 30 seconds of it. So from the looks of it, he was kicked off the Justice Committee, but he's still a sitting member of the Conservative Caucus.
Controversial Conservative MP Michael Cooper has been kicked off the House of Commons Justice Committee following his angry confrontation with a Muslim.
So, it was just mentioned in David's video about the committee, but he's been kicked off that committee.
Witness. Cooper read from the manifesto of the suspected Christchurch mosque shooter after telling the witness he should be ashamed for linking mass murder to conservative commentators. Party leader Andrew Scheer addressed the expulsion on Twitter Saturday, saying it was due to the insensitive and unacceptable comments made by Cooper. Scheer continued saying he accepted Cooper's apology and he considers the matter now to be closed.
Yeah, so he was harassing a Muslim witness by quoting the manifesto from the Christchurch shooter. Is it surprising he'd be at a party with a bunch of right-wingers? But also there's this that just came out like literally right before I was about to do the live stream. I came across this. And so David Mosscrop is following up saying, well, let's read the statement first. So this is a statement from Michael Cooper. NDP Liberals and their media friends are spreading lies about me. See my statement. That's not much of a statement. So statement from MP Michael Cooper. Since the Liberals are lying to the media about me to distract from their failed government and costly policies, here is what happened with the photos being posted of me on the internet. I went to a restaurant in Ottawa to have dinner. At the restaurant, I was recognized by a group of people who approached me and took photos. I am in no way associated with these individuals and was not meeting with them. Oh, darn it. I need to remember to switch screens back and forth when I'm doing this. But somebody is pointing out this is from a Press Progress article that was going on around this, where it says, Cooper did not respond to multiple requests for comment from Press Progress about why he attended the event and if he condoned the group's behavior. So it's only now that it's catching up to him, you know, he's in the finding out phase, that he's like, I didn't know them. No, not at all.
So a number of the group's regular members say they are on security lists and banned from entering the House of Commons. For me, this is the takeaway here. Like, you're going to have, you know, loons do what they do. But when you have sitting members meeting with the loons, that's when it becomes a real issue.
And he's far from the only one to have been caught socializing, going on right-wing podcasts. Like, even look at the premier of Alberta going on stage with Tucker Carlson, literally spouting replacement theory BS. Like, it's a trend. You know, it's a trend across the board when you see these people. Like, even Pierre Poilievre was marching with the Freedom Convoy when he was running to become leader of the Conservative Party. It's not shocking at this point to see any of the conservative politicians getting chummy with right-wingers.
So Luke LeBrun reporting here, I can confirm the same guy was at the Red Pepper after party yesterday where Conservative MP Michael Cooper showed up. He was wearing the same clothes yesterday as he's wearing today. So you can see the shirt there. That is the same guy, as you can see, wearing the shirt right here, which is one of those, what does it say? Unmasked, unmuzzled.
And I think that last one right here says unafraid.
One of those. Oh my God, these clowns. All right, so Jagmeet Singh came out to respond to the reaction to the video, saying, "By now you've probably seen the video. For days now, bullies in Ottawa have been..."
And I will be covering that in just a moment. Is that all I wanted from the information from his video? I think so, yeah. So that's the main information about what happened. So everyone, of course, go check out David Dole and watch the whole video. His Canadian videos don't do nearly as well as his other videos, so it's always good to, give it a watch, to give it a boost. But I also wanted to touch on this. So like I said, there was another video that's talking about this, and this is from Power and Politics Power Panel, and this is from CBC News. So we don't need to watch the beginning of it because it's just a replay of that, and then it's asking a few politicians about their thoughts on it. But I was listening to it and I heard the panel speak, and I'm just like, there were some things in it that just kind of got under my skin. But again, this just kind of shows you what Canadian media is, and it's very like a tennis match, This is this side, now this is this side, and we're just going back between the two of them, and you watch back and forth, but there's no, you have people on there that are literally just to spout talking points, and there's no actual conversation or anything. It's just, here's my presented information, but there's no pushback. I know it's hard to explain. But this is why a lot of people aren't engaged with politics too, is because it's boring as hell.
Michelle Cadario, Kate Harrison here with me in the studio, and Francoise Boivin. Shachi, what did you make of what we saw there? We have seen these protesters around Parliament really since the convoy, following, videotaping journalists, MPs. Mr. Singh has had this happen to him before. What was your reaction to what you saw?
I mean, it makes you sick to your stomach at a number of levels. First of all, important to realize and acknowledge and be appreciative of the fact that it did not escalate into violence. Mr. Singh is actually a very physically fit man. I think he could have handled himself in that.
I think he has martial arts training as well, which I would.
To me, this is just a weird comment. It's like, oh yeah, if he got into the fight, he could have taken them. Like, to me, that's just a weird comment. But then also, why don't you mention that, yes, he does have martial arts training? Why don't you mention his motivation for that training when he was a kid? It was because of the racism he was dealing with. A lot of these people on TV like to tiptoe around that because they don't really want to acknowledge that Canada is a very racist country. And so they tend to tiptoe around that. But the reality is, Jagmeet got that martial arts training when he was young because of the harassment he was receiving for being a visible minority.
Wouldn't tangle with him. No.
Let's just be grateful for the restraint. The man who lied about hurling that insult is a little weasel, but I'm also very glad that he didn't shove Singh or do something like that. Right? It could have gotten very bad very quickly. I spend a lot of time talking.
And there were armed security guards there as well, so it's hard to say how much it would have escalated, but I am glad it didn't, because I'm not against, calling out politicians in public, especially when they're near the building and stuff. But I want people to call them out on the policies. I don't want the name calling, just saying like corrupted bastard. Like, what is that about? But if you want to harass Justin Trudeau and say you're sponsoring a genocide, I'm kind of okay with that, But I don't want people to feel threatened for doing their job as a politician. I don't want people getting into their physical space or things of that sort when they're just trying to do their job. Especially when, okay, it was about racism. Like it was racism. That's part of Canada.
Talking to Canadians in my world as a pollster and trying to better understand what is going on with civil society, what is going on with discourse, what is going on with people at what drives somebody to troll a Terry Fox memorial ceremony or always be following leaders or journalists, with their what gives, what's up with that? I don't get it, but I do think it's like this toxic, vicious cycle of polarization and increasingly heightened language that comes at times, even from the rhetoric of our own political leaders. And then people react to that, they respond to that, it gets angrier and flintier. We're a long way from love and courage.
So part of my issues with what she's saying too is she said, the language coming from our leaders. She made that plural. It's not, it's coming from a leader. It's coming from Pierre Poilievre. He's the one that's into the name calling. He's the one that's encouraging people to do it. He mocks somebody else for needing security, saying he doesn't need it and stuff. And this type of name calling harassment tends to come from one side. You don't see too many NDP supporters, approaching conservatives and just calling them names. Where are the F. Pierre Poilievre flags? They don't exist. But the F. Trudeau flags definitely exist. Where's the imagery of hateful rhetoric towards Pierre Poilievre? But you see it towards Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau, and down in the States you see that also with Kamala Harris and Biden and stuff. There was those things that they put on the back of the trucks to make it look like they were bound and gagged inside, and pictures with bullseyes over them and all this sort of stuff. This hateful rhetoric is coming from one side, but she's like, oh no, we're not being civil anymore, and she's playing the civility politics a little bit too much here. You have to acknowledge where it's coming from instead of trying to both sides it.
I'm not going to condemn Mr. Singh for losing his cool, and he did not physically lose his cool, but you could see he was ticked off. And I feel for him. I feel for anybody who has to deal with that. And yes, at times they're going to snap. I've also seen an era of politician, and I'm not saying what was happening to them in that moment was acceptable. It was assault. But, we've all seen the footage of politicians who've had the egg thrown at them or the macaroni thrown at them, and they just walked away. They just didn't flinch, didn't react, kept going.
And I've seen some of those things where stuff was thrown at Justin Trudeau. Again, what side is this coming from? It's generally speaking, those actions are coming from the right. They're coming from supporters of Pierre Poilievre. And to even hint that Jagmeet didn't have a right to get upset over what was being yelled at him, come on. Oh, well, these other people got stuff thrown at them and they were fine, so therefore he should deal with his harassment fine. But the harassment Jagmeet Singh receives on any typical day, given how loaded it is also with the racist vitriol, it's kind of astonishing he's made it this long without an episode like that. And to me, what's really sad is seeing how much he's changed with his attitude since he first started. Let's go back here. When he first ran to become the leader of the NDP, there's videos out there of a woman getting up on stage where he was at and getting in his face and being racist. And Jagmeet was like, no, it's love, love will bring us together. And, the way that he dealt with it was just so positive and stuff. It even made the news in the United States about how he was able to do that. And then even later on, and like in the last election, you would see other people kind of get in his face and how above it he was and how calm he was and how much he would say we need to work together and get together. And all of that is really good. But you can see, especially over these past few years, how bad it's gotten that even Jagmeet is kind of like at his wit's end. Like I'm amazed he has held it together this long. Like, I have a lot of criticisms about how he's running the NDP, but who he is as a person, from everything I know from meeting him, he's an amazing person. Full stop. He is an amazing person. I have my issues with how he's dealing with the NDP and running the NDP, but he is just an incredible person. And to see how beat down he's gotten over the years because of the constant harassment and stuff is really, really sad. You know, he shouldn't have to deal with this. And then you have this woman here just not acknowledging where this hate is coming from, where this vitriol is coming from. It's coming from the right. Like, you're not even seeing, I don't know if liberals are even doing this towards Jagmeet. And it would just be nice if they named it for what it is.
And I'm not saying that politicians should have to do that. That is an incredibly hard thing to do. But clearly something is breaking down in the level of tolerance that public figures have to put up with this stuff. But something is also fundamentally breaking down in the ability for ordinary Canadians, Americans, people around the world to just not act like jerks.
Well, Michelle, like,
It's because it's being encouraged by the right. When you have your right-wing role models like Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Pierre Poilievre doing the name-calling, saying the vitriol, telling lies, flat-out lies, using manipulative techniques, without the media properly pushing back, this is what you get. So you're a low information voter. You see Pierre Poilievre up on a podium spewing this rhetoric, which I know, and I'm sure most of you know, are just flat out lies, but none of the reporters are pushing back in that moment. How is that low information voter supposed to know that they're being lied to when it's not happening at that moment that they're watching this press conference? You know, nobody's going to go back and see a statement from maybe a news organization that said, oh, just to clarify, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's going to see that. It needs to be happening in the moment, and it doesn't. So if you're a low information voter that just tunes in every now and then and you hear this rhetoric from Pierre Poilievre, but you don't hear any, how do you know he's lying? That's what the reporters' jobs are, to point that out to people.
we're seeing this a lot with Mr. Singh. We're seeing a lot with politicians. There are women municipal politicians all over Quebec who have been bowing out because of the way they're being treated. Just sorry, I spoke over you there, but you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think we all have to just kind of reflect. When you're calling people names inside the House of Commons chamber, you're going to expect to be called names outside of the House of Commons chamber. And I think every single one of those MPs who are, flailing insults, calling people liars, and kind of being histrionic inside the chamber should kind of take a good look at themselves to see what kind of example they're setting. Because
So this was the other thing that kind of got under my skin. And then we don't really need to watch any more of this. So let's get back to here. She was saying the name calling. Who's doing the name calling in the House? Again, it's Pierre Poilievre, referring to people as wackos. That's like his latest thing that he wants to make, an insult, but it's really just weird. It's Pierre Poilievre who's doing the bulk of that. But then she conflates it with other leaders or politicians saying that the others are lying. Okay, you don't get to put those in the same category. Those are two different things. So name calling and being shallow like that shouldn't be happening in the House floor. But the thing is that there's this stupid etiquette that the decorum of the the question period and stuff like that. So if you accuse somebody of lying, if you accuse them of being dishonest, you get kicked out of the room. Like, you literally get kicked out because that's insulting them. When you're just stating fact, you're not allowed in the moment as a politician on Parliament floor to say what that person, what Pierre Poilievre just said is a lie. Okay, calling someone a liar isn't calling them a name. It's a descriptor, you know. But when Pierre Poilievre is up there referring to Justin Trudeau as wacko or fascist or communist, like, those are different things. Those are not descriptors, because Justin Trudeau is a lot of things. A fascist is not one. And it's just so frustrating again that you have these civility, journalists, people on this panel that are just trying to both sides it so hard without actually just stating it's coming from the right. Could you please, like, if you think that this is an issue on both sides, can you please show the examples? And I don't just mean a one-off example here or there of Jagmeet Singh or Justin Trudeau just calling people names. I think it has happened occasionally, like Justin Trudeau has slipped up and said something. But we have reels and reels of things that Pierre Poilievre and other conservative politicians say. Where is that for the other parties? Because even if you look provincially, Doug Ford has said some really disgusting things on the House floor, but as soon as you say he's a liar, you get kicked out. Yet he doesn't get kicked out for saying fairly offensive names towards people. Like, they want a time of civility and stuff like that. Well, then go after the people who are disturbing it, you know? Don't try to both sides this. And Jagmeet did reply to this on Twitter, saying, by now you've probably seen the video. For days now, bullies in Ottawa have been spewing hate and harassing Canadians who don't agree with them. And Indigenous women being called a Nazi, staff being harassed, journalists being yelled at. That's the country Pierre Poilievre wants. So he says it, and this is true. Me, I believe everyone should feel safe walking our streets. I believe we need to stand up to bullies and shut down hate. Canadians believe in lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. Stand with us. He's been getting a fair bit of positive attention for how he handled this. And again, I'm just a little worried it's going to get to his head, because I don't think he's helping the NDP at all, remaining the leader. What he has done as the leader of the NDP has been very disappointing. The direction he's gone in, his political instinct is just really, really bad. His political instinct sucks. And they're not going to make any gains. And it's just so frustrating there wasn't a leadership run at the last convention. Because, again, this is something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. In order to get to the convention where the vote is going to be held as to whether or not there's going to be a leadership race, you have to have money. Money to travel to the convention space, money for the hotel, money to get in, all this sort of stuff. You have to be of a certain class in order to participate at that level of the party politics. And so the only people that make it to the convention are the elite within it. The insiders, the establishment. And so those are the ones voting as to whether or not there should be a leadership race, not the base as a whole. And so when you have those establishment characters there, what they do is they look at it like Jagmeet Singh has done nothing terribly wrong, but he also hasn't done much right either. But because he hasn't done anything offensive or wrong, we're going to keep him. But where are the gains in the party? You know, where's the excitement? Where's the people online saying, yeah, this is what we want to see in the future? Instead, I've been showing stories where he has just fallen so flat on his face. Took him 11 months to have like a very forceful statement about what's happening in Gaza. There might be others, but that one's the one that comes to my mind recently. Whereas I've seen other NDP MPs be very forceful about what's happening in Gaza. And then, so he finally comes out with that statement, yay! And then what does he do? Try to make it about carbon tax. And it's just like, going into the next election, Jagmeet Singh can't be the leader of the NDP. Justin Trudeau can't be the leader of the Liberals if they have any hope in hell of beating the Conservatives. Even switching them out, there's no guarantee that will happen. I just wish that there was a better way for the base to get more control over the party again, but when the establishment blocks you out, and I have my stories about trying to become a candidate, it really does restrict how that party can grow when you have a few people inside determining how it will grow.